Earlier this week, I wanted to buy a physical copy of Rhythm Heaven Fever for the Wii. I look back on that set of games fondly and I really want to try and collect them again. But one Google search later, while I look for the money I don't have, let's talk about Rhythm Heaven. No, hang on! Why is it $203? Rhythm Heaven is a wacky, one-of-a-kind series of games. Previously, when I discussed rhythm games, I didn't go into detail about Rhythm Heaven aside from it being the first rhythm game I've ever played. I consider myself a fan. Because of that, I look at a series with minigames like a fucking wrestling interview and think, yeah, this is normal. You probably don't think that. You're probably confused. Don't worry, I'll explain. The Rhythm Heaven series started with Rhythm Heaven on the Nintendo DS. In North America and Europe. The actual starting point for this series is Rhythm Tengoku for the Game Boy Advance. Yes, that also translates to Rhythm Heaven, but Tengoku is the official name for it, and since it was never localized, that's what we're going to be calling it today. Meet Terada Mitsuo, professionally known as Tsunku, Japanese singer, songwriter, and producer. He's one of the best-selling lyricists in Japan and has served as a lead singer of glam rock band Shiram Q and the primary producer for Morning Musume and other acts under Hello Project. That's to say, he's got a knack for various forms of Japanese pop and rock. He wants to set out and make a video game. In doing so, he hopes his efforts can improve the rhythm of the people in Japan. In 2004, Tsunku brought his proposal to Nintendo regarding a rhythm game that emphasized audio cues instead of visual cues. He worked with Osawa Kazuyoshi, who's known for his involvement with the WarioWare series, to refine the concept as he thought the game wouldn't do well if it didn't have a musical score behind it. They worked together alongside Yone Masumi on sound design and Takeuchi Ko on art design, and those two alongside Tsunku would continue to play a substantial role in development of the series from there on out. Development for this game and the rest of the series was done under Nintendo SPD-1, known for developing some Metro releases, Tomodachi Life, Come Back to Me Please, and most notably, a good portion of the WarioWare series. The team rallied around Osawa, who was pushing himself to really commit to whatever direction he had in mind, and his colleagues helped make his ideas into reality. Tsunku composed the music for the game as well as supervising the project. It didn't gain much press before it released, but once it did well! Rhythm Tengoku released on the Game Boy Advance in 2006, the last game developed for the system. Remember that it was released around the time that the Nintendo DS was not only out, but insanely popular. The decision to put this game on the GBA confused a lot of people, but Osawa defended himself by saying that he wanted to utilize the GBA's portability with its smaller screen and stick-to-button control. Regardless, the game was received positively by consumers. Rhythm Tengoku uses simple button controls. There's not really much confusion with what button you're supposed to press since everything's laid down to be understood easily. Once you're ready to go, you start with a karate dude punching paper cups. This is how Rhythm Tengoku starts. Nothing is out of the question to happen here. Next game, you're plucking hairs off onions, and then marching to the beat. In the first 3 games, we're getting introduced to how wacky this game is. It pairs well with its silly visuals, fitting of Takeuchi and his work with the WarioWare series. The game structure involves playing a set of rhythm games with the game giving you a grade based on your performance. There's a remix at the end of every set of games, rinsing and repeating through 8 sets of games. There's a variety of fun, visually quirky and distinct games to go through, all with catchy music to play along to. Simple as they are, they feel varied in their ideas as well, which makes for a potluck of games to play. With 48 games in total, Rhythm Tengoku wastes nothing and proudly shows what it's all about from start to finish. The addictive nature is something that many people gravitated to, including other developers. Really, employees at Sega enjoyed the game so much that they insisted on developing an arcade game that ended up getting released in 2007. For being such a well-established game on the GBA, development on a DS installment commenced in no time. Osawa wanted to make the most out of a DS version of Rhythm Heaven by utilizing what was unique about the hardware, and thus studied how to use the stylus, which became the new focus of gameplay over button controls. He agonized over how to do this for months, leading Takeuchi and Yone pushing him to meet Tsunku in Tokyo and get his input. Tsunku helped Osawa through the dilemma, and their efforts resulted in the game Frog Hop, which set the direction to go with the game and this method of control. After that first meeting, Osawa and the rest of the team felt reinvigorated. That meeting and subsequent meetings is also a testament to Tsunku's involvement and insistence on making a fun rhythm game. Most people would simply put their name on a game and take the money, except for when they don't, and bad things happen. But Sunku was actively doing what he could, communicating to the team in Tokyo from Kyoto to supervise and edge them in the right direction. And the team in Kyoto was passionate throughout, and the result of their efforts was Rhythm Tengoku Gold, released in 2008 in Japan and getting a worldwide release in 2009, as Rhythm Heaven in America, Rhythm Paradise in Europe, and Rhythm Sisang in Korea. Finally, the world gets to see the uniqueness of Rhythm Heaven. The game is played on the DS on its side and utilizes a touchscreen and stylus through tapping and flicking to control games. Even though it took a while to put it all together, the game came out exactly as it was meant to be, a basic but engaging rhythm game experience. I can't speak that much on the games included in Rhythm Tengoku because of the fact that I'm a pure-blooded American and never got the chance to play them. But Rhythm Heaven, man, I could go on and on. Built to Scale is a fantastic way to kick things off and introduce the flicking mechanic. Glee Club, smooth music with these little guys on the box that became some of the most popular characters in the series. Philbots, love the robot theme. Fan Club, Pop Singer We Stan. Rhythm Rally, a fast and silly song. Why is this the only rhythm tennis-based game I know? Shoot 'em Up, a rockin' gritty song with fun space visuals. Bluebirds, that is a bird in the military. Moai Doo-Wop, actual Easter Island rock singing doo-wop, man, that's just goofy. Those were just the first 2 sets of games. There's 50 total games to play and enjoy. Rhythm Heaven delivers game after game on off-the-wall, wacky concepts that, paired with catchy music and simple gameplay, sets itself apart from really all other video games. I always found myself bopping my head to the music and the tracks getting stuck in my head long after playing. The music is that engrossing. Except the songs with vocals. I like 2 of the handful we have in this game, but most of these lyrics are just too bland. But that's such a small thing to look over when Sunku and his crew delivered such an engrossing soundtrack. I probably feel most nostalgic about this game in this series. I remember taking this game with me on several car trips and vacations and having a blast. I tried to get the perfect medals in every single game, which was a tall task. I never got all the medals like I wanted to, but the pursuit of that on top of enjoying all this game had to offer kept me entertained for so long. My most fond memories of this series come from this game and being pleasantly entertained by it. So imagine my reaction when I catch wind that they're making a Rhythm Heaven for the Wii! Rhythm Heaven Fever. Man. Osawa wasn't involved in this one, but Sunku, Takeuchi, Yone, and other members of the previous team were at it again, and part of a bigger team that was 3 times the size of the Rhythm Heaven team. Being on the Wii, they deliberated about controlling the game by swinging the Wii remote, but ultimately found it too tiring and in the process thought about going to just button controls, a direction that made late Nintendo president Satoru Iwata ask, wouldn't just buttons be perfectly fine? So after washing away the agony, they went straight back to work. The development of Rhythm Heaven Fever was an immensely collaborative project. Everyone on the team pitched in their ideas and what they thought would be fun. I seriously recommend reading the Iwata Asks interview conducted regarding this game, because it's heartwarming how the team worked so well together. Sunku also confesses that being on the Wii provides a good social environment, especially having onlookers notice the player's mistakes. Actually what he said, so thanks Sunku, you actual sadist! Their casserole came out of the oven as Mina no Rhythm Tengoku, or Rhythm Heaven Fever in America, released in 2011 in Japan and 2012 everywhere else. In 2013 in Korea, sorry guys. Listen, I hate how Rhythm Heaven Fever is such an overpriced game today, but I understand why. People want this game, and why wouldn't they? How do we start this one? Seems right. With 50 games plus bonuses, Rhythm Heaven Fever keeps with what makes Rhythm Heaven great. Its visuals and gameplay are still intact, but it feels like everything is being executed better than ever. At this point, it's hard not to repeat myself, especially considering that these games are built on such a simple foundation. But do you want to see how crazy this game is? How about Ringside, the wrestling interview game I brought up at the beginning, which Yone thought about in a bathtub when he thought about the pressure of cutting a wedding cake in front of a photographer. Yeah, that's where this game comes from. Or Bossa Nova, a volleyball game with sexy voices in the background. Or Air Rally, another fun rally game within this series with a wonderful song as you rally and the guy goes, "Ba, ba, 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 2, 3, 4." It's the way this game continues to throw new ideas to the forefront, all of them being fun and addicting is what makes Rhythm Heaven Fever and the rest of the series the experience that it is. It's the quality and the variety of new ideas that really makes this game stick out. In its simplicity, the visuals are fantastically eccentric, but with more detail than before for the game to exercise its own brand of humor. The music, once again, delivering throughout. Even the vocal tracks are significantly better. All of these, Tonight, Lonely Storm, I Love You My One and Only, Beautiful One Day, Dreams of Our Generation, the soundtrack is so good! Rhythm Heaven Fever is a game that everybody can play, and it's something that developers wanted to emphasize. Heck, the Japanese title literally translates to everybody's Rhythm Heaven. Sunku, you awesome man. You and the rest of the team delivered an experience like no other. If Rhythm Heaven ended here, I wouldn't be upset. Well, I mean I would because I'd love to see more games, but you get the point. But we did get another game! Rhythm Heaven Megamix, aka Rhythm Heaven The Best Plus in Japan, released on the Nintendo 3DS in 2015 in Japan and 2016 across the world. Here it kinda just got a stealth release. There wasn't a lot of big press around it, so when it silently dropped on the Nintendo 3DS eShop, I was like, what? Rhythm Heaven Megamix includes 108 games? Wait a second though. Megamix is a compilation, so that number includes 63 returning games. There are only 19 brand new games, and I don't know if it's because they're buried under so many returning games, but the new games kinda just blend into the lineup, which I'm not sure is a good or bad thing. This game also includes a plot? Sure, sport, I'll follow along with you. Not to take any of this as I dislike this game, because I do like it. It's a worthy compilation of what this series has to offer, and I'd say pick it up if you can. But I'd also say find Rhythm Heaven in the DS, or donate your plasma and get Rhythm Heaven Fever if you want a pure Rhythm Heaven experience. And that's Rhythm Heaven! Unfortunately, this series has gone dormant since Megamix's release, with no word on a new game in the works. I don't really know what they'd do if they put out a new game, but Sunku has gone on record saying that he wants a new installment in the series. If he's as adamant as he says, I trust he'd come out on the other side with a great game. This is a series of some of my favorite games of all time for a reason. There's nothing else like it, and I doubt the stars will align in such a way for something like this to be put together again. Silliness, simplicity, some really good music. Shit, I suck at alliteration. That's what Rhythm Heaven is, alongside a surprisingly broad appeal that everyone can experience and enjoy. If your dad is Bill Gates, みんな黙って俺についてこい Yeah, check it out, ファンキーだみんな必死で俺についてこい Come on, check it out, ファンキーだみんな黙って俺についてこい Yeah, check it out, ファンキーだみんな必死で俺についてこい